Hello guys and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about what makes a car fun. What makes a car fun to drive and also what makes a car fun to own. The three categories I'd like to visit are acceleration, handling, and character. Acceleration is always fun. I don't need to explain that. Handling, having fun in the twisties, and character. So, acceleration. Bear with me here, there's going to be a touch of math. Acceleration is force divided by mass. Now, that means not only acceleration is dictated by how much force your car can put to the road, but how light it is. When we look at this equation in car terms, we're going to use horsepower divided by curb weight. Why am I using horsepower instead of torque? Well, because torque is the force applied at a distance, the twisting force your car creates at the crank. Horsepower is torque times RPM divided by 5252. Ignore the number, it's just a number. Torque times RPM. Now this is telling you that your car is making more power even if making less force at the crank when the engine is spinning faster. So this is why you get most of your acceleration up in the higher rev range, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 if your car can get there. So this is important. We have to use horsepower when talking about acceleration, even though torque is technically the force getting put out by your engine, because horsepower is the force coming out of your transmission. It's taking into account your gearing because it's taking into account how fast your engine is spinning. The first car we're going to talk about in regards to acceleration is the Mazda Miata. Makes 181 horsepower and weighs 2,400 pounds or 1.2 tons. This gives it about 150 horsepower per ton. And that results in a 0 to 60 time of 5.7 seconds. It's not great for a sports car, but it is pretty quick. Now, let's talk about the Audi A4. 335 horsepower, 2.2 tons. 151 horsepower per ton. It has a lot more horsepower than the Miata, but it weighs a lot more, so you get pretty much the same horsepower per ton figure. And you get pretty much the same 0 to 60 figure without quattro, two-wheel drive. Just for fun, here's a McLaren Speedtail, 1,000 horsepower, 1.6 tons, 660 horsepower per ton, 2.3 seconds, 0 to 60. And now you'll notice I said without quattro. So we're going to talk about traction. Quattro is an all-wheel drive system. That means you can put power down to all four wheels and accelerate faster. With quattro, the Audi A4 did 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. Not only Audi have all-wheel drive systems. BMW, all of Volkswagen Group actually, Ford, Mitsubishi, and Subaru all have great all-wheel drive systems. Tires are another important thing to think about. Your car probably has all-season tires. These are great, but they will not give you the best acceleration. Not saying you should switch your tires, just something to think about. If you're on a nice, dry, hot road, Pirelli P0s, which are very good summer performance tires, will give you much better acceleration than these basic Goodyears. Or you could have slicks on. Of course, they're illegal and you need to be on like a prepped surface and everything. But again, it will give you better acceleration because you have more rubber exposed to the road. And there's the last thing, the road. If it's icy, if it's wet, if it's oily, you will not have as much traction, you will be slower. Handling. Important thing to think about with handling is how fast you can go around a corner, and this is it, how much fun you can have doing it. Colin Chapman said, adding power makes you faster on the streets, subtracting weight makes you faster everywhere. This is important, but it's not it. Yes, having a light car is usually going to be better going around a corner, but there's a lot of other things to think about. Steering responsiveness, and steering feel are extremely important when thinking about handling. You want feedback, you want to know where your wheels are pointed, and you want to be able to point them in that direction quickly and accurately. You don't want a dead zone, you don't want just mushy electronic feel. Engine and drivetrain layout are important. This is a Mercedes McLaren SLR, front engine, rear wheel drive. Of course, you're not going to be buying a Mercedes McLaren SLR, but this is a good layout. This is not the highest performing layout. Most supercars are mid-engined, but this layout can give you a lot of fun and it's very simple. So I recommend buying a front-engined rear-wheel drive car like a Miata, like a BMW. Performance mods, such as coilovers or sway bars, can improve the handling of your car immensely. Side note, if you have a Miata, please put sway bars on. The chassis roll is ridiculously bad, but with sway bars you can get it a lot better. Last thing we're going to talk about is character. Now, grocery getters like the Honda Accord do not have character. Now, not saying it's a bad car to have, but bear with me here. If you go out and buy a Honda Accord, you are very unimaginative. My friend has a 1972 Dodge Dart Slant 6. Awful car. It can't go around corners and it's slow as heck. But he loves it because it is a special, interesting car and he's formed a bond with it. Richard Hammond's Opel Kadett, Oliver. Again, a special car you can form a bond with. Another of my friends recently graduated high school and he bought an AutoZam AZ1. This is, it looks kind of supercar-ish from this angle. It's not. It's a 1,400 pound 3-cylinder. It makes 60 horsepower and has an 11-second 0 to 60 time. But it's so cool. Just look at that. It's so weird, so different, that it makes it special. It makes it a fun car. It's fun to own. I, of course, could never own one. I'm 6'3", and I break my head every time I take a ride in it. But still, buy something different. Or, if you have a Miata, which is, I would say, a pretty boring car, or a Honda Accord or Civic or whatever, you can mod it, and you can make it different. You can make it your own. Whatever, just, if you want to have fun with your car, you want it to be special to you. You don't just want it to be a machine. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and I will catch you in the next one.
Ja, ja, ja. För den här är fucking snart i fly.